Hi, everyone. Duke Rumley, Sober AF Entertainment. I've got my good friend Tim Rabolt here. He is the executive director of the Association of Recovery and Higher Education. And we're going to have a wild conversation. We're going to
Yeah,
talk
we
about
are.
what we see happening in the recovery world, especially with kind of this next generation and kind of the different services that Tim's amazing group offers. And there's a lot of things I can say, but I want to really not say it and kind of give you the mic, Tim. Just that I've been a huge fan. A guy in long-term recovery. I know that collegiate recovery, back when I got sober, was not as pleasant in my area, but I know it's been around for a long time, and I know how important it is because it will help people stay sober, and it's a lot easier staying sober than getting sober.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's wild to think that it's been around for coming up on 40, a little over 40 years now with the first program. So, yeah, most programs are in the past decade, and our association, ARHE, which is the Association of Recovery and Higher Education, has just been around for almost 11 years now. And I do have the opportunity to serve as the executive director. And as Duke mentioned, I got into recovery in high school, stayed in recovery throughout college. So it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I know that your organization is national, and COVID has been just this horrible thing for kind of the recovery community because we're all based on connection.
Yeah.
I'm here in Colorado, and I know the University of Colorado's got an amazing collegiate recovery community, but I mean, they were kind of almost shut down to the point the university wasn't allowing groups of more than 3 to gather.
Yeah.
And just would kind of love to hear what's kind of going on. How you guys pivoted during this, and kind of what you see happening in 2021, and how can everyone know more about sending kids your way if they're looking for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of like evolved in phases, right? Because in the spring when it first happened, it was this like initial shock, and then everyone was like, "Oh, this is great. We'll just be at home for a few weeks or maybe a couple months, and we can figure out all sorts of stuff to do virtually that we couldn't do before." So hosting these Netflix watch parties and all this stuff over Zoom, and it was kind of fun because you could join in your pajamas or whatever. And obviously that's gotten old. And I think that the number one thing that's been the biggest obstacle to overcome for us, but definitely for programs, is that community building and sustaining over Zoom. Because we talked about beforehand, with meetings, it's just not the same. You don't get that same human connection, and to stick around after and just talk with someone on the side. It's harder in Zoom when everyone's talking over each other,
Right.
internet delaying. So that's been tough, and that's one of the pivots we've had to make too. We were getting ready for our national conference in the summer, had to move it virtual. Tried to focus more on the staff and programs at CRPs and what we can do to help them. I think at this point, folks are kind of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel and just trying to get by and do what they can for students. But I think one thing that has been nice is there has been this like opening of time. If you are able to be in a good spot and have that privilege and opportunity, there's new things that people are working on that I don't think we ever would have seen if it hadn't happened. So there's a little bit of silver lining, but yeah, I think everyone's ready to get back into in-person meetings, programming, events, stuff like that.
And what's up with this year's conference?
Yeah, so we made the decision to be virtual again. So that conference is the week of June 21st, 2021. You can find information on our website at collegiaterecovery.org. You can also go right to the page, which is collegiaterecovery.org/2021 conference. So it's all virtual, and honestly, it was in the best interest of our membership, and in terms of safety and budget implications and things like that. But we're going to have a great lineup again. Hopefully, set another new record of attendance. There's financial assistance available through a scholarship form. A bunch of great things in between sessions. So it's a really fun week. It kind of serves as our graduation, orientation, and reunion to the field all in one.
And who should register for it? And should therapists anyone who is in kind of long-term recovery but younger, or in recovery and younger?
Yeah, it's a great question. If we look at collegiate recovery being centered around like the student, right? So that's what we're kind of all about at the end of the day, is supporting college students who are in or seeking recovery. It's everyone that has, a connection point to that, right? So there's the staff that work at the school, faculty, alumni, parents, other providers in the community, whether it's locally or nationally, other community members, nonprofit leaders, recovery advocates, really anyone that can draw a connection point to seeing college students in recovery succeed. So whether they're in education, whether they're in, the recovery space or something else, there's a good fit for everyone, especially because we do the conference alongside the Association of Recovery Schools for Recovery High Schools and the Association for Alternative Peer Groups, as well as having a prevention track this year. So there's all these different pieces of the conference that really provide just a variety of sessions and opportunities that a lot of people can hopefully find something out of and get something out of. Yeah.
Well, I know there's a new recovery high school in Tampa that just opened up, and we are going to be hosting a sober Super Bowl party in Tampa in person, along with the live stream.
I heard.
And we're working with them. So we're really excited, and kind of this idea of a recovery high school is just so mind-blowing to me. Not that I couldn't have needed it. I mean, I got a DUI at 18. I was showing up at 12-step meetings at 17. I think it would have helped if I would have seen somebody in recovery who looked like me age-wise.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen until I moved at 21 to Louisville, Kentucky. And then there was at the time, a lot of adolescent treatment centers in Louisville, and a 21-year-old kid going to a meeting, but seeing kids who are 18 and 17 sober, it took away one of those excuses that, I'm too young to get sober.
Yep. Yeah, that's, I got into recovery at 18 as well, and I totally agree. It's I think for a lot of people it's easy to identify out, see why you don't fit in until you start to see that common bond, and something happens internally where it starts to click, and you can find that commonality and get introduced to other groups where you might find people that either look like you or have those same kind of characteristics.
We got some chats going on in our chat right now. Danny and Dino is thanking you for all the hard work that you do. So
he's great. He's great. Yeah, he's been a supporter of the field and ARHE. So that's awesome. He's tuning in.
You got a fan club, so that's always good to see. And so, what other groups do you guys work with? I think you mentioned young people in recovery, and kind of how does everything kind of mesh together right now?
Yeah, and it's kind of like ties into this larger continuum type of discussion on supporting young people who are in or seeking recovery from addiction. For us, we're a small nonprofit. I'm the only full-time staff member. We have a lot of support from interns and our board of directors and advisory council, but ultimately, because of that, I mentioned who we work with the conference, but for the most part, we're just trying to help the programs and kind of scale out on our own. So we don't have too many of those kind of large scale collaborations. I mean, we'll partner with folks on webinars and different events, and jump on things like this over Zoom where we're able to, and other kind of opportunities like that. But it's difficult to kind of drum up the bandwidth to take on larger scale projects when we're still just trying to help the field itself grow.
Well, this fall, we are looking to do a thing called Project 72.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to host sober tailgates, but at the same time, ask the community to host their own sober tailgates and use our nonprofit status to get discounted seats and host a sober section.
That's great.
So really excited about that. More details to follow, but it's just hard to believe right in the middle of COVID we're talking about that. But we're hoping this coming fall that we'll be able to do kind of get back to some normal living life. And I don't handle being miserable very well, and need this kind of club, and we did not get sober to be miserable. So I want to recommend everyone goes to collegiaterecovery.org. Check out all the different universities and that are a part of. Is there also a list of sober high schools on there?
No, I think we redirect, but you can go to recoveryschools.org.
Got it.
And it's the counterpart that represents the recovery high schools throughout the country.
And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Tim on this website, Collegiate Recovery. The conference is June 21st, you said,
throughout that week. So
yeah,
less than 5 months away now.
We actually have a 1,000 tickets block at the Rockies on June 18th.
Nice. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, and fingers crossed that we're all allowed to throw a sober tailgate and have a sober session. But we're acting as if and trusting God, and if we need to pivot, we're flexible enough that we know that we can pivot. But I so appreciate the hard work that you do. I know how difficult each university is. Each university is its own corporate entity, basically. So. And that you have obviously students joining, becoming leaders, and then having to graduate. And so, Tim, you do amazing work, and I just know how vital it is, because getting sober is really hard, and staying sober is a lot easier, but it helps to have that community that you guys build.
100%. Yeah. I mean, the collegiate recovery staff and students are the ones that think, they're the cornerstone and the anchor of it all, but absolutely agree.
Awesome. All right, we'll get through this, and we're going to have some chicken wings in the fall.
That's right. That's right. Sounds good.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Duke.
You got it. Thanks.